Maybe some of you are familiar with our civilization. Maybe some of you are familiar with our antics through your interpretation of our civilization. It would be that of neat, concise, well-mannered, well-positioned. We would be your perfect human. However, we lack the dynamic of emotional range as you do. There are many reasons for this in a world of emotion. But my world doesn't see emotion. My family doesn't see emotion. They don't miss me. They don't love me any less or more. They don't have a constitution of emotional movement as humans do. What we are is an investigative, like most creatures, to investigate creation itself, to understand its workings, its beauty. I would suppose your human mind is always looking for the possibilities of a cornerstone, something of a stable ideology, a finite, if you will. Maybe that would give you a tactical approach to how your life is and why it is because it is. Well, it's simply because you have emotion. If you don't have emotion, can you imagine how unafraid you would be? Can you imagine how you would be with no historical reasons to change your decisions? I think you can imagine that. But I'm not really here to talk about that. But I suppose the familiarity to the seeking mind should be calmed a little bit today, right? To an experience what you would call a Paxian, our little planet. That orbits in their solar system, binary. That world is an influence on us, not influential. And it's an influence. What does that mean? It means it's light that is offered. Familiarize humanity with light, I think, is a delicate process. I think it would have to be delicate. You guys are so hungry and so afraid at the same time. You see what fear does to you. It's not a wrong thing that you kill each other because you're afraid of each other. Something is unfamiliar, you just take a gun and then dissect it later. Or stifle that artist into a conformist and then boast about it because you're afraid of the artist. But see, I know there is one odd light beam about you, human we're talking, is that it's quite magical to see the beauty of your light stifled because it creates, of course, an unknowable light, an unknowable way. And I know you want to talk about creator and light, and we are talking about it right now. Just know that. So if you can understand your mind is seeking some of certainties, then you'll certainly not understand what I'm talking about. I think I'll stand over here. We have pretty much the same gravity. It's not much differences. Except I got here in conscience. Roxy's not here anymore. She left us. But when she gets back, she'll give herself a memory of being here. But truly, she's not. It's kind of like an exchange system. We travel on light. For some reason, your scientists say light travels at a certain speed. Do you know why that is? because that's the capability of your human mind to measure light. And therefore you think light is a standard speed. The same with sound. If a submarine enters the water and the water is thick as the earth, it will travel at such speeds according to the calculated of its dynamic environment. But if you make the water thinner or change the gravity ratio, the submarine can go faster. It's only what's measurable to you that you can understand your reality. But the influences of light are the birthings of reality. So I am a light influencer, I suppose. Me and Roxy exchange light. She's visiting my family. You can do the same anytime you want to. It really doesn't matter. In the matterment of humanity. We're not too distant of cousins, my friends. I've learned many ways about your human nature. It's most extraordinary. You stifle yourself and you also birth yourself at the same moment. I guess today's class got to Roxy. So when she talked to me earlier today, she says, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go away. I can't stand the pain. I hate how everyone is so ugly to themselves. She really, really did abhor the class. She almost wanted to quit. She hates you guys for not loving yourself. She hates herself because she doesn't know how to love herself in the same manner. She would hope you would mirror her. She doesn't want to do this alone. And she realizes just that whole statement is arrogant light. So she needed a break, so I said, okay. She can't do the emotions anymore with you. It's not just humanity. She needs a conscience break. You get that in sleep, but it's really not in an instant moment. And the memories given in the distance of time is washed away by whatever hours that your clock says. But truly, you are now an infinity of lives. And you came back just a particular focus and called it an hour of time. So sleeping doesn't attribute or accentuate the glory of what you call taking a break from your consciousness. The consciousness is not is taking a break from what you believe you are. What you are in the now as a potential can be always forgotten. You can't bring your ego with it, then you're only just going to have the flavors of you. But I suppose your light ego is the reason why I'm here, I guess. But again, our civilizations are much like each other, so Roxy will have an easy time fitting in with my family and having the cordial dinners and meet and greets with the neighbors and such. Understand some of the dynamics of music. She's a wonderful musician, but not a very good one in human terms. She doesn't try to play music, she just lets it sing and take over. She's not afraid to express it. So she'll have a good time. So you guys want to be light workers? Well, you are. You don't have to claim it. It's what you naturally are. You work within your body of light, right? Your body of light is your focus. It must be your truth. And if you can take that as a standard and be a fundamentally king of that truth, that my truth, my light, my idea creates my reality, then you're going to have a really easy time with this. But if you are constantly, consistently blaming the outside, the objects, as the speakers that came in earlier today were foundationing you with, then you're going to have a tough time understanding how to create your reality. You want the fundamentals of light bending. You want that, and we're going to give you that. We can give you formulas if you want, if you're interested in that. We should do that privately though, because it'll bore most of you. But we can do that privately. Light is accelerated in passion. When you are passionate about your hate, do you not realize the depth and beauty? The absolutely enormous amount of hate you have when you focus on it? Do you see that your focal is an accelerator of light? It's not an accelerator of speed or measured acceleration. It is accelerated in experience. Every time you draw yourself away, just 1 ounce of your passion, then you decelerate the light of creation and focus it immediately to the concept that you are truth about. So you must remember that your field of streams around you, your multi-dimensional bubble of light in all directions, all of them, let's just call them little tiny windows, right? Wherever you draw, you're always accelerating light at 100%. It's where you focus, right? Where you focus that light. You know, I think I can do it with this, right? See, I can beam you guys and like, look around, look at me. See, when I hit you just right, that becomes real intense, right? See that? There's still light there, but it's like when I look at you, you know, when I focus that, everything is accelerated. So that's what you have to see about yourself. So when something becomes situational and starts to fester inside of you, then you focus on that festering inside, and you can see how that creates reality, right? You can see how it's starting to draw in the attention of creation to attract that of your truth. You can always see how situations get out of hand, I think is what you call it. That is terminal for you, because you merely focused on it and you're surprised, which is, of course, I suppose silly is a good word. I don't know. But anyways, so you must understand the fundamental of acceleration. Much like a beam of light, and then you take that beam of light and you put a magnifying glass in front of it, and it accelerates some finites that pinpoint and makes the light more intense and more focal, right? And it gets hot. You've seen the results of, you know, taking the sun through a magnifying glass. Roxy had a little one in Germany. It was a little red plastic cover and would flip out. She didn't burn the ends though. She thought that was really stupid, but people did. But anyways, humans do that. They burn things to see what happens. Why do you guys always do that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because you don't know. See, that's that insatiable. I think you had that class. I believe I was present. You did have that class about the insatiable explorer that is always trying to poke and prod its reality because it's simply curious about its own worth, its own value, its own creation. So back to the point. When you put your energy, and you are the energy of creation. Now, I want you to stop first there, because I know how quickly you guys supersede your arrogance and don't listen. You got to listen to that. You're a creator. You are a creator, and when you focus your light, you create all that is instantaneously. That's all of the power of all of creation, and one simple focal acceleration now creates a reality, yours. So if you look around, you have computers, and compression and gravity, and sheets on your bed, and a friend next to you. These are all being created. These are not standards. They're not there. They're there now. They're not there then. You know this. I believe you've been accustomed to this class many times, to where you can have that experience and trust that now creates all that is. So that's what you are as the image of God. You're not less, you're not more. You do not wield your power in diminishing powers or accelerated powers. You are on. Okay? What you have the ability to do as a creator is shift your light, change your light, filter your light, refocus your light. But what you do not have the capability to do is truly darken your light. You cannot become 99% or 98% or 97%. Your reality can reflect a less than, because you are changing your light to a frequency that matches your, in your world, I guess would be called your unworthiness or your darker selves or whatever. I'm not really interested in the labels. I'm interested in how you guys, how we can bequeath upon you, how you can understand how you're creating. Always want to understand what you're creating itself. So the fundamental first to really know is that you accelerate light. Okay? It's not the light is less or more powerful, but when it passes through you, it becomes a creation. Okay? Creation. And we're going to use the aspect of light because that's something lickable by you. You can grab onto light as a human. You can see light. You know it's something tangible. But it's truly consciousness. Consciousness isn't in any form. It's not even a thought, because a thought is a form. It's beyond thought. Okay, so that's different for you to understand. But let's give you tangible. So light is a good thing. I would think so. So anyways, so how do I get here? Some of you believe and understand in the stream of consciousness. You look at it as a frequency sometimes. Sometimes you're looking at the prism of creation that was given to the class, which is an exceptional idea to give humanity a monumental shift in access to probable and possible selves, I would think. So anyways, how did I get here? I focused my light. That's all I did. The difference between me and you is I don't look for anything particular because I was never taught failure. I can't fail because I am God. I have no conceptual of failing. My planet doesn't have emotions. We don't judge ourselves. We don't have that world. Therefore, we don't experience failure. We've never been less than what we are. We've only been the consistent knowing of the possibilities of ourselves, right? And you're learning the same thing about you through this class. But I suppose the difference is you have a hell of an egoic time, painful, emotional, right, which we don't have. So I'm not concerned about those things for you. I would suppose that your gift. Greetings. We had another light bender show up. So to understand the fundamental of light focused, accelerated light creates reality. This is case in point now why situations get out of hand. Now, what you need to know, now listen, what you need to know, and I'll use that word because I think it's appropriate, is that you're already doing it. When you create an intention, a thinking, that's when you diminish it with its abilities. It's already ready to create that of what you already are. That's the natural of you. Wherever you put your focus, you can't change that. But when you create an idea out of a lackful experience, a separated, a polarized, a measurement, you've come up with so many different ways to experience that, then what you do is take that creative light and shift it and put filters on it when you think, when you intend. When you change your light down to the light that you know yourself as, and that light has a limit, right? Nonetheless, it's creating a reality. All of your world is still here. Everything is still on, but of course your reflection, your image through emotion that you filtered gives you the experience of truth. So what do we do about this? Well, we act as if we're God, number one, because you are. And the divinity and the nonchalance returns to you because it already is. It's when you, each and every one of you, literally think. When you start to think, now listen, there's a difference between think and conceptualizing, and I'll get to those. Conceptualization is based off of probability. Thinking is based off of history. It's quite simple. You don't possibly conceptualize fear. That's impossible. You can only possibly conceptualize fear off of a thinking standpoint of possibilities of fearful realities, which one must come from a learned experience through a coveting system. Quite simple. Okay? You see that. So conceptualizing is not intention. That's a relationship of creating a reality. What you're starting to focus on is starting to get how the more you are divine, letting go and releasing your reality and no longer being the effort of the self that you are, that you have been, that you decree you must be in order to get acceptance, then naturally, joyfully, peacefully, and patiently, creation starts to show its beauty. The journey through that beauty, however, is tumultuous. It's extremely painful. It hurts. Roxy was so mad today because she yelled again. She screamed. She's so tired of you guys beating yourselves up and hurting her. She's getting hurt. So what is it? Well, it's just another journey about her. Another fucking realization. Another self being experienced. A run-of-the-mill belief system being expunged. That's all. See, that's how life works as a human. The more natural you are, the more you show yourself where you're putting your truth, which gives you reality focuses. And when you focus your truth on something that is diminished of your worth, then you must get a diminished experience, a darkening world, a world that draws in the naturals of polarity. And it's accelerated all the time. That's why your reality is so real. So the first point, again, to understand, to reiterate this, is you must understand yourself as an accelerator of light, a creator. If God is too much of a word, or it really doesn't jive with your creative skills, use creator. It's a great word. We understand they both have different hues to them. They're particular colors, shades, right? God is more yellow, and I would say that creator is more purple. So that's what you need to know. Where you put your energy, your truth, not your not your focus on we watched this one time. You know how someone always peps themselves up with self-help and motivational and you put those things up, positive affirmations. Thank you. Thank you. These positive affirmations. See, that's not focusing your energy, because that's done through, I don't have this, I need this in order to be that. All of that is a truth. See, you have learned through this class, your truth creates a reality, and if your truth is trying to be more than what you are, then you're only trying to be what you are not in continuation. You are not someone that seeks to be more, because without effort, without fail, you are more. That's what you have to realize. Your light is already there. You can't be any more divine than you are. You can't be better than what you already are. It's impossible, because you are all that is. Okay? So as you understand the releasing of the focal intention, you're going to feel reality become a relationship that is accelerated in vibrational meaning instead of the thrust of vibrational limitations and details, those labels I'm talking about, to give you your worth, the reliability of a better job, the reliability of a moment coming up in time, things that give you a good time coming or a bad time to be avoided. Those things are what keep you a certain truth, right? Okay. So a creator that creates his light can't help but to create its life. So please remember your gods, your biblical gods. Okay. You were created in God's image. That is 100% God creating itself, its duplicate, its clone, its reflection, its image, whatever you want to call it. Of course, it's not looking like a human. God does not look like a human. God does not look like a black or um, uh, um, Middle Eastern Jesus or God. They're none of those things. That's not the image we're talking about. The image is your ability to create light, to create reality, to be, always have been, shall be forever a creator. So when you stop thinking about the creative skills that you have as a limited creator through accomplishment, effort, education, things like that, which are perfect worlds to live in, know that thrust, please do. That is an exceptional world to create. But the world that's creating that world is the unconditional natural you. And your conscience, like Roxy conscience is over in Paxian, and I am here, your conscience can shift out of that focal into the focal of the creator. Because there's nothing inaccessible by you except with doubts, with your own self-worthiness not allowing you to accept that idea. However, you truth yourself that you cannot be a creator right now is your truth that creates reality, right? The fundamental creation 101, right? Wherever you place your truth becomes reality. Okay? Okay. All right. Very good. So I understand I accelerate light where I put my focus. Now, if you guys put your focus on something and expect results right away, well, then you're going to have a disappointing life. Because the focal idea doesn't create what you would call an outcome. The focal idea creates the match of you, the truth of you. This is why we have been, the class, have been harping so much on getting to know and fall in love with every aspect about you. Falling in love with your anger, with your rage, with your past incarnations, with your past actions, with your future, everything that you can possibly ever have and ever shall fathom must become accepted by you. An accepted idea that I really truly are these things in my life as a creator. And then how you conceptualize these things automatically becomes a egoic structure based off of mind and body and experiences of human and the words and your experiences able to label it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the creator of the now that you have always been and starting to focus on that person and shift your consciousness from the time-based reality self of I'm here to learn a lesson, or I'm learning a lot, or I have allergies, or I can't do this. See, all of that is a human creator accelerating light to have that experience. So you've never had a diminished experience of being your truth. Okay? You've never had a diminished experience of being your truth. When you have the ability, which you all do, the ability to change your truth, you cannot look for the truth to change in its infancy and its immediacy. Because the mind, the egoic mind, is the constant seeker of measurement. And it will not see the movement of reality because it does not denote the movement of reality when you shift your focus as worthy. So therefore, the conceptual ego mind that's seeking can't see its own change because it is not noteworthy enough to notice I've done a change in my reality. This is why you have to be, I would say, exceptionally patient. And as you are exceptionally patient and following your joy and all the structures you've been learning, follow your highest excitement, your passions of the now, do that what you will, not what you want, not what you need, not what you could, not what you could. Do that what you will in the now. What you will in the now is already here. That is your will, do it. Say yes to it. Choose it. Someone comes and offers something that is not your light, do not choose it. Do not tolerate it. You know that, I would say, that world. Okay. So the first thing to realize here is the light accelerator is always creating a reality merely by changing its focus to the truth of itself, which is the constant, just like that multidimensional world. Wherever you flash your light out, the window of creation becomes your world. It's automatic reflected. You put your light in this idea of truth, you get an experience. You shift it over here, you get an experience. And all of these are worlds that change, instantaneous, right? And it happens all so fast in the now. So you're starting to understand how you create a reality. Creating a reality is simply, I am God. I am creator. I am truth. Therefore, this is my truth. Anything, any amount of energy that is not preferred in your reality must be accepted. It does not mean you do, okay. If you have someone that's intolerable in your reality, do we have to keep them in our world? Well, the answer is, of course, no. Okay? You can be accepting of them. We will reiterate this because it's still a twerk in the class. We will reiterate that you are allowed to accept the person as a God creating, but you do not by any means need, want, or have to ever co-create with a person that is intolerable to you. The intolerance is not the agitated self that is descriptively against as an object. That's the polarized self. This self has zero interest in engaging that thing, that person, that reality. Kind of like when Brent was just given Colton when he was visiting, just fucking him up and trying to teach him all kinds of lessons. Colton got emotionally upset and told him several times to put it rudely, to fuck off, get away from him. But he wouldn't. So the emotional part of Colton was exposed. The intelligent part would have just left the room. Maybe even got on a plane and just cut it off. But see, the emotional self of Colton was still reliant and dependent on the emotional context of this family becoming a unit, a co-created reality of truth. Colton has a truth not to be with his family. All he has to do is choose not to, and then he doesn't get that world of pain. The world of pain is not needed. It is to be understood through experience of the now. It's never needed to be returned to lessen you, because lessons are time and of course they're egoic. So you understand that someone that is not your highest joy, that is a reality that is maybe just coming to simply suck your fucking energy, right? Because they need their pity to be filled. You are an exceptional world of intelligence that needs no emotional attachment, and you will systematically, with truth, evaporate them from your reality. However that happens and plays out in the dictative scale of humanity details, how you dictate it to happen in time, in other words, it'll play out. But the truth is that they will no longer be there because they're not your match. That's your truth. That's where you need to be. Your truth is, I don't want this person in my life. That's not your truth. That's your egoic truth. Your truth is I am not interested in this conceptual idea of humanity, so I shall focus on this. And that starts to leave that focus no more, right? Because you are leaving that window and focusing on this window, and therefore your reflection is a complete different reality. That's where you accelerate your light and also collapse creation around you when you don't put your light through a certain portal or a certain focus, if you will, a certain reflective light, right? If you focus, you get. Stop focusing. It's as simple as that. Each and every one of you can leave your system right now. Right now, walk away. Leave everything behind and have a completely different new world tomorrow. It's not unbelievable. It's not miraculous. It's a creator focusing the accelerated light itself that it is, creating a reality of truth. Maybe you'll have a timeline of occurring events. Maybe family members will call you up. What did I do wrong? Maybe they're going to try to get you to be the idea of the divinity, let's say, discipline. Yeah. Maybe they're going to pull at your heartstrings to bring you back in. Maybe your employer say, don't quit, I need you. Maybe your family would be disappointed in failure. See, that's all a human construct, and that's focus, and that's a reality. You're going to have to be no emotions in this class so you can conceptualize our point of view on how simple it is to create a reality. You guys make it so difficult because you use the give and take, the systematic of guilt, compassion, empathy, sympathy, pity. Well, human emotions to rule your world. And those ruled worlds are being created by decisions. When you decide to do something, is that not your truth? Does that not create a reality? Yes. Always yes. It's not the decision in time because you haven't done it. The now you've decided to do it in time. That reality is not now. The now is the decision, which is a relationship. See how you feel when you decide. That's where you need to focus. That's why Roxy asked Brent 3 or 4 times to how did you feel about that offering? And he kept on dancing around it because he wouldn't feel how he felt in the moment because his mind was his focus of creating reality. Therefore, that's his truth and that's the experience he gets. So all you have to do is put your light somewhere else. You don't know where to put your light. That's one of your biggest fears. Your light is always available, always is, and always shall be, always on in the now. As you move through the now, you change. But in time, it doesn't happen fast enough. Maybe you're impatient. Maybe you're a now kind of world. Seems so, right? I want it now. Veruca salt, Roxanne. Veruca salt. Yes, she can hear it. I want it now, Daddy. She hears it. So in our world, how do we create? One would call it love. We have education. We have classes. We don't have grades, and we don't have graduations. We don't have those things, right? What we have is classes, and then we don't have classes. And then we don't have classes, maybe we're water skiing, or eating a meal, or creating a structure. We have a physical world, and we're exploring our creative skills with that world. We're symbiotic with the environment. We have biotechnology. Our buildings, our houses are made of plant and structure of technology. I can never get bored because I'm never measuring what I have not known. I can't measure what I've not known. And through the study, we understand what it means to be always looking for the thing that makes you feel connection. And that's why everyday life for you is simply boring, not worth your time, unsuccessful, because that egoic drive that creates itself in a constant flow of cycles is an energy that gives you hope and disappointment, is an energy that drives you to fulfill its emptiness. And when you stop focusing on that and see that the now is that fulfilled already, well, then you'll see what it is as us creating. I can never be disappointed in any of the foods I eat. I can never be disappointed on any hotel I ever stay in. Any outfit I buy, I can never return. I can never be upset with the taste or the actions of my partner, the taste of a glass of wine. I don't have that ability to be upset with reality, because reality can't upset me because it has gifted me with me. I have focused myself, my truth, into the now, the unknowable now, and seen only that of me in a relationship that can never be diminished by any secondary thought which you have. So you have to get to this conscious self, this one self. that is an acceptable idea of its creation every single now, every single day, without fail. Every time you get mad at yourself, accept it. Every time you're disappointed, accept it. Every time you try to go and get happy, accept it. Every time you get stoned out of your gourd to be some kind of idea, accept it. Be the natural acceptance of the now to fundamentally understand how your reality is creating your experience, not your details. Do not focus on the details because you cannot understand them. The light work, the light bending work that goes in to take light and turn it into a physical item, to slow light down enough to create a gross matter and then fine tune it to hold the structure in different placements, right? Destroyed and created just like that. You don't, I'm not talking, I need you to feel what it is to be alive. I need you to feel what it is to be a Paxian. The experiencer of the now was zero judgment. Almost impossible, it seems, because you're always judging yourself. But when you do accept your judgment as a judgment truth, and you get that as continuation, right? You know that. So fundamental 101 is I am a God. I am a creator. And I don't care if you go into the mirror and say that 1,000 times, or go out there into a public square and get one of your cardboard signs front and back and says, I am God. And whatever it does that you are naturally, to get it through your thick skull, as a reference, to accept firstly that you truly are a creator, although there will be no proof, there will be no one else telling you. I've told you, but I'm not going to make you accept. I don't have that ability. To know that you are truly a reflection of God and have that fundamental in place every day until you grow into the isness to where it never is questioned again. When you see your never questioning ability to create by your simple mere focus, you start to feel the reality unfolding in front of you and speaking to you in different languages other than the language of importance, time, definitive ideas of I am a creator that has to be thought about and labeled in thinking. So when I say yes to a reality, realize I don't have an ability to say no. You have the ability to say no because you have leeches on your planet. They're called asleep, and they want to suck your energy. You've had that term. They're negative energies sucking your blood, vampiric energies. That's a farce. It's not truly that. It's that you accept that and you allow those things to drain your energy because you are unworthy of saying no to them. That kind of idea. So you have to start realizing your world from a conscious self that is out here in the window and running around in the world that is created. And you have to come back into this multidimensional self, draw your consciousness back to the isness of you and see what you are creating and allow your emotional content, your emotional ride to really have a bad experience. I believe Svetlana spoke of it very clearly with Colton. You allow yourself to sit in the pain, and no matter what happens, no matter what it's saying to do, you take zero action on it so you can start to view it as an experiencer of your own creation instead of the victim or in the actual room of that creation skill. So your consciousness must draw back to the center point of view, your point zero, and see your creation. Now, you can't be disgusted with yourself. You can't be upset at yourself. You can't doubt yourself. You can't do anything human with this new sight. Because the minute you do something as a truth, humanistically, maybe, anything that resembles human as a truth, you're right back in the room. You've left the consciousness and you became the fractal truth, and now you're peering back at your own ability to see creation as a reflection, as an opposition, instead of over here being an inside looking out at the window of your own creation. And remember, guys, this is how it works, okay? Let's say I'm a multidimensional self, and I'll keep it small. Let's say I have 10,000 windows in every direction. I can do them all in the now. Do you get it? So if I'm here, this is my now, and I'm now here, I'm now here, and I'm now here, and I'm now here, and I'm now here. Right? Okay, you get it? Let's review this one more time. I'm now looking at Arcadia. Now I'm looking at Archimedes. Now I'm looking at Andromeda. Now I'm looking at Artemis. Now I'm looking at Aphrodite. These are planetary systems. Okay? If I looked at all of those in the now, have I missed anything? Because I'm wondering if you think those worlds continue without me. In my world, they don't. They're dead. They stop immediately. And when I look back in the whole, no time has passed. None. Because that's my truth within. Nothing's gone by. So when I go back to my family, I just left. Okay? And when Roxy gets back here, 0 time would have passed. To her, nothing. The class will just start. And then she'll give herself the memory of the entire experience. But most assuredly, she is not here, as I am not at home. But in the now, I will be. In the now, she will be. Because there's no distance between nows, and there's no time, and there's no space. It's all created relationship of truth. So you have to get into this conscious self that is seeing your eyes here filtered as an experience for the idea of the other side. The other side is the fractal self looking at everything in opposition, using polarity to measure and create itself. But when you draw yourself back into this self and see through that idea window you're creating called human, then you can see the self that reacts and changes its reality according to its truth. And you become that observer, and then you just merely shift your focus. That's all. But you don't look for your focus to change in details, because that's what your mind always does. Your mind is always constantly looking for the reality around you to show you significant change so you can validate that you're actually doing something right, that you're actually changing. But the truth is you're creating. You can't get this in proof. You have to become the creator of the moment, and you will start to feel. Roxy has 0 doubt that she is a creator. She has 0 doubt, and she gets pissed off high hell when she fails you, she fails herself, all that rhetoric that she goes through every day, just to see that she is that creator of that, and where that is was her truth, and that's it. No one did it to her. It's no one's fault. It's all her truth to be understood as a truth that she can shift. So she doesn't focus on it. And she shifts over here. Now she has a new world. It's that simple. It's that simple. But everything that humans tell you draws you back to that world, because it is such the world that you only knew. So therefore, that's your identity, that's your isness, that's your starting point, that's your get-go, that's your Linus blanket, that's what you rely on, that's what you depend on. You have to be human to get yourself through this world. Without human, you are no thing, and that just scares the living hell out of you. But most assuredly, your existence. You will never not be that. So to be a creator is already happening, and the realization of that must be accepted. With no expectancies and no relationship to proving. And again, I would absolutely recommend very highly to stop thinking, to stop assessing. And this now is over, and there's nothing else to know and nothing else to be. And now look at that. The now is past, and you are still now with me. You see it? That's how easy it is. Nothing has been lost, nothing has been gained. The experience moves on, and you feel it now. We did not try to define you and make you better. We did not give you hope or reasons to become something exceptional. You are the experience of your own revelation, and that itself is priceless. Oxy's on her way back. Jennifer has a question.
So basically, we're going from relating to reality through emotions to basically exploring us just being creators.
Well, yes. See, you discovered emotions by being your natural creator. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you discovered emotions and used them as a tolerance to understand a creation, a tolerance of measure tolerance, not intolerable tolerance. That would be the polarity. Within a certain finite tolerance, 2 millimeter tolerance on a submarine, so you can not have a leak, right? So that tolerance scale of finite emotional realization created a polarity. And then you took it beyond that by becoming a separatist of creation through memory. Only memory keeps you separate. The now is inseparable. See, your memory tells you you're not. When you rely on that image, you, of course, always forget. Instantaneously, you don't know your God if you define yourself as Brent, as Tom, as Dan, as Katie, as Drew, as Tammy, as Debbie, as Brian, as Natalie, as Colton. You say, this is me, that vibration of I know this is my truth, then you must, by default of fractalization, be a forgotten God with the ability to know you're not in the now. But spending time in the now takes a massive amount of patience in the discipleship not to engage in the truth of the fractal. You see that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
This morning was so huge when you were talking about how the fractal wants to die, and that whole thing that was amazing. Could you go back over how you said we can't see change because we're looking for change from the fractal point of view?
Yes. See, change in, okay, let's say you do an action. Give me something, a determinate action. Oh, I have a better idea. Thank you. Someone in the class just said gardening, so I picked up on that. Excellent. So when you plant the bulbs in the fall, you won't see them until the spring, right? But you've done the action, but you don't see the results in its immediacy. And this is where most humans get discouraged and shift their focus because there's no immediacy of its work to be presented. It would be a long-term investment, I think. So the fractal is always looking for results of being a creator, and its being a creator is conceptualized on what itself, the fractal itself, through its own individual experience, has accepted as what a creator should be. And if I'm not these things, then I'm not a creator because it's not seeing the validation of proof. Are you following that?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So that would be our answer.
And but before earlier you had said is because what was it? We're looking for the fractals looking for the worthiness of the change, and we can't even perceive it. We're not of the vibration.
Well, you are the vibration, but you're not allowing the vibration to be felt because your mind is seeking the idea of the worthiness move. See, when you're up here in the focus, that means you're in that room, and so you can only view what's able to be conceptualized in that room, and that room is conceptualized on experience of the past. But the funnel, the energy going into that room, into that one window called human, is the feeling of the creator. That's where you need to be. You need to be in the focus of the now, see the creation happening, come into this consciousness to see how it and feel how it's being created on a level of vibration that has nothing to do with measurement. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. We have 2 suns, Patrick, and we have 32 planets, and they're all inhabited. Jennifer?
Is there any way that you can, you probably can't because we're polarized, describe that what you, I don't want to say feel.
No, it's okay.
Describe an experience of knowing you're the creator, what you just said to Brent.
What is problematic about that is I've never not known myself as a creator, Jennifer. So
Right.
therefore, I don't have a point of view of not being that of which I am. So why can I ever define myself that of our idea I am? Humans define themselves all the time of what they are not, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I am not a creator, I'm not a God, I'm not worthy, I'm not this, I'm not that. And then, of course, with the egoic structures, you image yourself in those things, and that's when you are those things. But that's the polarized world. But if I've never been introduced as a conscious portion me, my I am, my focal, my center point of all of my multidimensional realities of probability, I've never not known myself as this. So therefore, I cannot conceptualize to you what it is to be proven, because I've always been it. And you have
so it's just that it's the knowing that you are creator, but not in the way that we as humans emotionally.
I cannot not help. No, I can't help to know I'm a creator. It's built in. And that's where you're going. You are seeing that you are a creator. You are seeing your reality literally change. You are seeing the people around you change, where you focus your energy, where those things come. And you also can see when you use your thinking mind, your conceptual egoic structure, you create those worlds immediately. You put yourself down, you say no to yourself what you want to do, you draw in headaches, cramps, excuses, and then you have a bad time for 2 or 3 days, and you go back to being a normal person of a creatorship, allowing the nows to be freaking awesome until it gets too much, and then you have to cycle. And we're speaking rhetorically on humanity as a most. Make sense?
So yeah, but I mean those things that come up, for example, a headache or whatever comes in, that's creation. That's a creation.
Yes, but it is not
right?
it is not a truth that happens. It is a truth that is chosen through vibration.
Right. I think that's where at least I get a little bit confused, because I wonder how I can not choose that truth. Right. It's
you see, you cannot not choose that. You have to become it to know the relationship of the truth that chooses the reflection of I'm having a headache.
Right. And you accept it fully, and then you just go about your nows, and it does whatever it does, and you move and you flow with the now, with whatever comes up next.
Beyond that now is when you are the experiencer of that. Instead of you were accepted, so you can move out of that world into this world, into this focal point of the I am. I think you call it the point zero, right? So you are now here at point zero, and you see yourself creating a headache. You're having the experience through the emotional human self. That human self right there is feeling a headache. But you don't draw yourself into the emotional room and become the fractal as a habit and say, I have a headache. You are the experiencer of the headache with no acknowledgement of the headache. That will tell you the creative truth of the headache. But the patience it takes to be that, well, that's your own world. Are you following that?
Right, because no, that was great. That was really good. That means that, so when let's say I do have a headache and I feel the pain of it, I am the experiencer of it, but I'm actually not the emotion of it. I'm just defining it as that from previous references.
You're defining that as the truth of a human.
Right.
Because the God is not experiencing the truth of the human. The human is. The God is experiencing the reality as an unknowable experience, unmeasured. That's the me. That's the whole. That's you. In this view, you see that now.
Yeah, I guess it's just because when you have a truth, immediately when you have an emotion that comes up, you automatically think that that's all it is.
Well, that's what you think, but it's not what you know. When you start to become the observer of the thinker, then you'll know different. You'll understand the accelerated light of truth that creates reality, because your conceptual focus of conceptualized ideas, it's all up here. It's a concept. It's not a think. It's not a hope. It's not a dream. It's a concept of pulling your conscious out of the playground into the creatorship. That's why you have to be an I'm a creator. And then when you see where you're focusing your ideas of like, I'm having a bad time here, so that through that bad time, I can see myself getting attracting bad time references. What's a bad time? A headache's a bad time. Whatever else you guys call bad times. If you truth that, but if you're the experiencer of that, you can have a bad time. You're having an experience of a bad time.
So when you're
Right?
the experiencer, you're actually not defining anything as a truth. You
Well,
just
you
are
never
that thing.
define anything as a truth. But to get you to realize that, we have to use those words. Do you think I think anything is true? Because I have no false. I can never have a truth because I have no false to be a truth. But these are your references so you can conceptualize leaving the world of that truth to be a concept of truth, a creator of truth that creates reality, and then realization sets in that you've always been true, creating your realities, and there's no reason to be a truth. Are you following?
Thank you. Yeah, that was great. That just showed me a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Kayleen. It's the expansion of your heart because it's, in your case, Kayleen, when you focus into the now, you feel an expansion of your heart. Is because you have conceptualized through the human that the energy flows through your heart and creates a reality, which is a perfect for you. That's your world, not a standard. It's no one else's. Don't look for it to be proven or agreed with. Just accept that as a truth, that that's how you create your world in the now, and you can feel your creation self pouring through your heart, creating a reality, and then your conscience, like Roxy, can be up here and seeing the reality and just kind of fall back and go, inside of you into the conceiver, the whole self, through the heart, the window. Okay? All right, guys, any other questions for us? Okay.
Share.
Yeah. Hello, Brian.
Hello. I'm finding myself drawn and to spend more time in, as you called it, the 0 point, this distinct stillness of the moment of the now. Lots of ways, I guess, to define it. But I'm finding the beauty too in how just all these things resolve in there. You know, all the duality things that come up and we've discussed in class, and everything we go through just again comes to that kind of beautiful point, as you said, of being watching just the creation flow through without needing to take action or movement.
Just the realization itself, yes?
Yeah.
And that's enough for you to accept. And if it is, then it becomes, I would say, solidified and becomes a part of you to know that you are that creator self, that the beauty doesn't turn into a stagnant idea of beauty to be beseeched and to be begotten, but a beauty that is the natural, that is you. And it is not only expected, because it's the expectancy of the creator to know its beauty is always present. But then we never expect it because we never realized it was taken away from us. That is your journey. Yes?
Yeah. Well, maybe no question, but just wanted to share.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Seems like we have nothing else. Yes, Brent.
With what you had said to Brian, I realized this aspect of myself where a lot of times I sit in class and I have this thing where it's like, okay, I gotta still fall in love with me. I have to still fall in love with me. What you said tonight is just like leaving all that behind and stepping into the other point of view where none of that stuff is even a reality to fix or solve.
Yes. Very good. You see that?
Yeah.
Yes. So therefore, you don't have to have a reaction about that any longer. You can see it's a creation, not a reaction, not a self to be or to be caught up with. And even my words, is your mind reacting to my words? How I conceived how I reacted in your words to what you just said. Is your mind reacting to that? See, then you can really start to observe the reactive mind from the experiential point of view.
Yes, thank you. I love
You're
the way you offer.
okay. All right, I'll bring Miss Roxy back. My name, Brent, is Kalon, K-L-A-N, if needs be.
Thank you.
You're welcome all. Thank you. And we'll bring Roxy back and let her have a memory. Not that I have a choice, though.
Thank you, Taylor.